Yeah, I warn those kids. I'm like, man, it's just emails and spreadsheets. And then you get on stage for like 12 seconds of your life and then back to the emails and spreadsheets.
Hi, guys. Thanks for joining us on the Elation podcast today, where we enjoy exhilarating euphoria through creation and collaboration. Today, we're here with Kate Duncan. How are you?
I'm great.
Good.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. You have a great long title.
I do.
Director of Loyola School of Music,
And
right?
yes.
And Theater Professions.
Yes.
And Conrad Hilton Chair in Music Industry.
Correct?
Yes,
you nailed it.
I nailed it.
You get an A for the day.
All right. Well, it was my only A in school at this point.
Excellent. 4.0.
Yeah, this and PE, right?
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, good. Well, like I said, thanks for coming today. We'll talk about a bunch of music stuff, but let's just start about your origin story and where you're at, where you came from, and how you got here, type of situation.
Yeah, happy to. I came from a place with an equally weird name and title. Indiana, Pennsylvania is where I'm originally from, just outside of Pittsburgh. We are the proud birthplace of Jimmy Stewart and me. So what more could you want from a tiny town in Western PA? But always singing. I'm an only child, and I would just run and get lost. And my mom always knew, look for the stage. She's just entertaining, tap dancing while old ladies sit in the audience and watch her. And I'm lucky enough to have known that music was the thing from day one. And just pursued that and went through a college degree where I had an undergraduate in classical singing, which helped me understand how to use the mechanism a little bit better. Knew that wasn't really where I was at. I was yearning for a degree that maybe Loyola University would offer in 20 some odd years. Future cast there. And so I went to get my master's in jazz, and I also have an undergrad in English, so I could, do the fallback on plan.
The fallback on plan?
Yep. Like I said, only child of two business-minded people who were horrified when I said, I want to go be a musician.
Yeah, creativity and business don't always mix.
Right? How do you build a life? And that is really kind of what the objective of my career has been. Is I've spent time performing, time recording, time running stages, time in front of house, just kind of all over the space of making music happen and learning those skills, right?
Well, so, I mean, the bug had to catch you somewhere if they didn't play music. Did they listen to music a lot, your parents, or?
Man, we bumped Phil Collins like there was no tomorrow.
It had to come out of somewhere.
Yeah.
It grabbed you somewhere.
Yeah, no, Whitney Houston and Phil Collins were the real, and then we had the jazz and the bug there too. But
that's awesome.
Yeah.
No, and jazz is so amazing. I love jazz because it's so open. It's just there's no boundaries.
It's so like the evolution to watch it change and shift, and the players allow it to change and shift is incredible. You don't see that really in other genres as much.
Did you play any instruments?
Yeah, I play piano. My very first musical thing was flute. So look out if you're a flute
player.
Jazz
flute over here. Right? You and Ron Burgundy, huh?
Yes, me and Ron Burgundy, 100%. Yes, yeah. 4th grade flute, killing.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome. Well, piano's great. I feel like it's. I feel like you have to learn piano at some point through the music theory process to just kind of help you see and visualize it.
Yeah, to get it in your muscles and understand it that way through ears and brain, eyes and hands is how you actually conceptualize of it. So it's a good tool.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm probably going to start, my oldest just turned 5. They have been, because I'm a producer, they have been playing with things for a while.
Okay.
But starting to show interest in actually wanting to play. So probably sometime this year, I'm going to start them with piano lessons.
That's great. And just, make sure they feel creative on it. I think all too often the mechanics get in the way of it's fun. We call it playing piano, right? And letting them just feel like they can do whatever they want, because the limitation of an instrument is endless.
No, 100%. But the schooling matters because, so I even figured, because as much as I love it now, when I was a kid, they put me in piano lessons, and they were trying to teach me Little Drummer Boy and
Mm-hmm.
songs that were silly to me at the time because I was probably like fifth, sixth grade or so.
Yeah.
I wanted to play Little Richard. I wanted to play Fats Domino.
Yeah, yeah.
I wanted to play things that were fun and that I was into. And the piano teacher was not into teaching that.
Yeah.
So I pushed off of it and I went and played
Mm-hmm.
football and did other things.
Yep.
And then obviously I I gravitated back to it.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you don't keep it fun in the beginning, that just
For sure.
You know.
I will say my parents let me choose between gymnastics or piano when I was in elementary school. I can do a heck of a round off.
Okay,
And I'm
all
still
right.
working on that piano. So, yeah, starting early. And that's, we even focus on that. Flash forward in my college teaching world, we focus on making music accessible to what the students want to gravitate to, as opposed to do that Little Drummer Boy over and over again.
Right.
Like, where are your ears? What are you listening to? Let's figure out how to play that on the piano.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to ask. Was
Yeah.
that, like, how does that translate nowadays into making it fun on the career side of music?
Yeah. Remembering to have fun on the career side of music, right? Yeah, I warn those kids. I'm like, man, it's just emails and spreadsheets, y'all. And then you get on stage for like 12 seconds of
Right.
your life and then
Right.
back to the emails and spreadsheets. But yeah, I mean, helping them understand that like fun is finding craftspersonship, right? Like owning the mastery of your instrument, your songwriting, the full language, being able to be conversant in the language of music, like taking pride. That's what fun is now.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, having crazy rock shows.
And there's a confidence in it too, right?
Yes, yes.
Take confidence that, oh, I know my business. I know I own this. I know my copyright's right. I know
Yep.
I can now do whatever comes at me.
Yeah.
So there's a confidence in that. When you get into those meetings too, if at some point when somebody starts talking to you about buying songs or publishing or sync, if you've got all your stuff in line and gear, those meetings go a lot smoother.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, now flash forward to what we do at Loyola. We really want students to, what I say, have a 360-degree grasp of music making. One, for the reasons that nobody is getting plucked off of, Royal Street to go be made famous anymore and have that be their sole income stream.
Right.
Having students understand that passive income in sync licensing, or the ability to not have to gig 7 nights a week, 2 sets per night, just to earn part of your rent, to make them feel comfortable in understanding those contracts, not getting taken advantage of. I own your merch from here on after.
Right.
Perpetuity deals and things
Right.
like that
Right.
that are so scary and always make you wonder, how much of a team do I have to buy to help me do this, as opposed to,
Right.
can you do it a little bit on your own?
Because it takes a team, especially when it gets some legs and
Yep.
starts moving.
Yep.
You cannot do it all on your own.
Yeah.
How do you think it translates now into, because there's so many copywriting issues with music. There's so many things that are moving faster than what we're almost learning how to teach.
Yep.
How is that transition of teaching expanding when the entertainment business grows in a certain way? Like, how fast does that translate?
I tease some of my colleagues in departments that I won't name, outside of music. And I say, like, man, how much does your syllabus have to change every 6 months or every time you teach this? Because keeping up with the technology alone is, one, so very expensive for
Right.
us. And two,
Right.
you have to become a master or a new certification even of Pro Tools recently came out, and all
Right.
of our teachers had to scramble, take those classes themselves. And then you're right, on the logistics side of copyright and understanding how to present your material with the right clearances and how to make sure everything is ready to be used by other people who want to pay you. That's so overwhelming. So making sure we're on the front end of it and kind of running ahead of it. That's why we have teachers that are not back in my day type of teachers. We have people
Right.
who are doing it right now,
Right.
on the faculty, because if you're not actually practicing what you're teaching, you're out of date already.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out UP, right?
Shout out UP, shout out Tim Capel, shout out John McHugh, shout out Billy O'Connell, shout out all those people, Emily Eck. You know, we have Grammy Award winners on our faculty that are just so good-hearted that they want to come and work with our students and make that music space better through their students, that they're the experts, and it's an amazing team to brag about.
That's awesome. Well, go Loyola, man, because they've really stepped it up over the last few years.
Yeah.
I will say.
Yeah, we're proud.
Well, what do you think is your most important teaching moment in throughout the career?
Oh, man, that's a great question. I don't think anybody's ever asked me that. There are a few. I think the general answer is when you see a light bulb. When you watch a kid who either in a theory class or in private lessons, or just that the furrowed brow, and you can tell they want to be there, but they know they're not quite there. And then you say just the right thing and twist the information just the right way to unlock that understanding. That's a drug.
Right.
That's like exciting to see a kid take that and run with it. I call them kids. They're adults, but they're my kids. But I think, several teaching moments. I am a musician first and foremost, so I still direct my ensemble, and watching them feel pride in what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
My ensemble works on probably the harder side of music in our building, just with how harmonically complicated jazz can be, how hard it is to sing constantly in tune when somebody's a half step away from you on purpose next to you.
Right.
And for them to, when I see them, like their shoulders kind of straighten out and they're really proud of what they're presenting. That's just the exciting moment.
You got to lean into it at that point.
Yeah, it's like, all right, I'm here with you
right
now. It's a two-way street. And I'm just so proud of them.
Well, that's also about having teachers that care too, because you have to have teachers that identify that and recognize those moments.
Yeah, that's important. I talk a lot. You have those airport conversations. What do you do for a living? And you're meeting strangers, and I kind of start with, I have a cohort of amazing humans, not amazing musicians, because of course they're amazing. We audition them into the program.
Well, you don't leave with your title, otherwise they would be done with their beer before you finish.
Yeah, they're walking away. But really, we have humans that want to be collaborative,
right,
whether that's on the faculty or on the student side. And we can, that Jesuit thing that we do at Loyola is also an incredible tool to say, be better, be kinder, be more aware of the whole person, the whole ecosystem, your ripple effect. And we can hold them to some standards that other places can't. And the caring teacher thing, my faculty, they just love our kids. And that I'm so proud to say that, nobody's railroading a kid just because they can, or
right,
there are no ego trips or power trips in our classrooms. We all just want to make music better through our students. And that's just an exciting added bonus to coming to work every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, and I mean, a good teacher will change your life.
Yep.
I've had many great teachers through different, I guess you would say different educational spans of my life. But the ones that stick with you teach you something forever.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And something as hard as music is to teach.
Yep.
Because it's more about growing. It's like planting a seed. It's more about growing a plant than teaching something. It's like you said. It's watching for those sparks. It's seeing where they gravitate to, because everybody that leaves that class is going to be different. Mm-hmm. It's not like a financial literacy class where everybody's got to get the same answers.
Yep.
So I feel like that's almost hard to grade, right? Because jazz is supposed to be wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
There are no wrong notes in jazz. That's what we teach. Yeah, it is hard to assess unless you are paying attention to where their starting point is and where they want to go, but then we're going to kick them over that line, even
right,
beyond that.
It's almost more about growth.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like if I see you grow from being here to here, then I know you're on the right path.
Yep.
So it means that you're doing well in my class.
Yeah.
In a sense.
Yeah, we do metrics, right?
Right.
Like we have juries at the end of the semester that the kids panic about, and they have to get up in front of us and perform, and we rank them out of 5 in different categories, and that's always stressful, but
Right.
it's a tool for me to say later, like, hey, look at last semester. You were pulling down 4s out of 5 this whole time, and now look, you got a bunch of 5s, and you worked on that thing that we talked about, intonation or artistry and creativity, and look at the progress you've made. Because that's why our brains gravitate towards progress, right?
Right.
When we feel like we're growing, you want to do more of that.
Right.
And so being able to show them that, it's not being able to say, haha, I got you, you got a B- in this class. It's more like, look at this amazing growth that you as a person have worked through. And then, you've got your music theory grades and your music history grades to boot too. But that creativity piece, you're right, is difficult to assess unless you're doing it individual by individual.
Right. How do you think AI has spun your curriculum?
I really still love when they have examples of AI trying to do some songwriting, because it's still so jumbled. Like it is the ham-handed poetry it makes me happy. I know it's getting faster and stronger. Robots don't come for me. That's
Right.
I just want to prepare for my future when AI fully takes over. It has to be used as a tool, right? AI is really only as good as the person operating it. Even with a chat GPT, like low end, that's your GarageBand, right? AI. It is only as good as the prompt you give it.
Right.
And I don't love technological mechanisms. I used to run a soundboard that was like 64 channels of just slider all day, every day.
Yep.
And now
I learned on an SSL 8000, which was an old CBS broadcasting board. It was 64. Well, it was 64 channels. It was 26 feet long. It was huge. And that's what I learned on. Everything had a switch.
Yeah. Now I've got something in my classroom for my ensemble, and it's just layer after layer after digital scene. And I'm like, where are the freaking sliders? And I
like my buttons.
Right. So, adopting AI has been difficult for some of us.
Right.
But we can't ignore it. The good things about it are that it can catch imposters faster. The bad things about it are, platforms like Tidal were just bombarded with, this is, like a Whitney Houston song, and you put it on and it's like a conga,
right?
Or some like mariachi band or something crazy, and you're like, this is in no way, shape, or form a Whitney song. So how did AI figure out all of the meta tags, right, to get it into that space? So it's a double-edged sword that I love a good process. My colleagues are like, yeah, she really does, but I wish we would have put some more parameters around it before we just loosed it to the world. Because that double-edged sword, again, can work if you're using it to make sure your message is getting out there to new potential fans, right? You can use it to get your stuff in more faces, more ears than ever. Otherwise, it's stealing your songs and it's labeling it as other things, and other artists are getting credit for it. And I think, the ASCAPs and the BMIs and the CSACs of the world are really scrambling to keep up with those like erroneous tag type things, and figure out like, how do we safeguard against that? And so, figuring out the lay of the land with AI is
it's a little bit of a balancing act, because I feel like the industry is pushing back on the fix.
Yeah.
Because, the labels love AI in a sense. They have to do less work, and streaming brings less money. So when you look at the overall aspect of not hiring studio musicians, and when you look, not hiring writers, not, that hell, not even having an artist, to deal with, it's kind of attractive to major labels. So,
you're cutting overhead for sure.
Why would you allow for the fix? And I bring that up because I feel like it's going to be very tough to teach this, because it's teaching your way out of your own position. and so I dived into AI over the summer really really hard. Just I wanted to do it to see how it was being replaced as a producer.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're right. It takes a human to prompt correctly.
Yeah.
But if you use the right prompts, which I've been producing for 18 years now. Like I know a lot of prompts and words and things that trigger things, and it comes out pretty awesome. Now the writing is funny to me. The writing is funny. Music production is what scares me.
Yeah. We do partner. I will say this is the good side of that coin. We partner with Aria Mastering, and they have been good enough to have an open-ended submission for all of our students and faculty of just that final piece, right? That final like last level mix and all of that. And what it is, it's an AI model based on Grammy Award-winning engineers.
Right.
A human does look at it at the very end of that conveyor belt. So I like the fact that we can get that process done more quickly.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And it gets pretty close to what a human would have done.
On the mixing side, it's unbelievable.
But that production, eliminating, producers in the world. I will say though, there are certain artists that are lauded in the industry and even in the jazz world. And then I listen and I'm like, man, these right angles are too perfect.
Right.
And there's something too slick. There's something like that doesn't gravitate me to that. I think humans will always want that human grit.
Yeah, well, there'll be, jazz, blues, bounce music. Like there are genres that AI will probably never be able to touch.
Yeah.
Like in a real way. Like it some jazz chords it might hit in an R&B song, but to do a full jazz track is going to be very difficult for AI.
Yeah.
Because it's imperfect.
Yes.
But when you get into popular music, which is perfect, and and auto-tuned and computerized already, it's going to be a crazy game.
Yeah, I really think the folks over in the Swedish production studios should be the most worried because they were the original AI of perfection.
Right.
And I hear you in that commercial space and club music or, hip hop production.
I mean, Britney Spears can now be just AI.
Yep.
Like that was not, she was so auto-tuned that it basically was computer.
Yep.
And at this point, you could just create that through an AI program.
Yeah, that's what's terrifying.
Yeah, and it's, I think there's also a lot of good side in that process too. Just recently had a disabled vet come to me and say he's been writing songs since he was in the Army 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And he missing some bones in his hand from incidents in the Army, and he can't play instruments.
Okay.
But he's been writing songs the whole time. And he said, I would like you to create an AI band for me.
All right.
With an AI singer that I can sing along with, because I can't sing and hit all the notes.
Okay.
But I still want it to be me. So in the end, I feel like I'm giving a singer-songwriter, disabled vet, a voice that he wouldn't normally be able to have.
Absolutely.
So I feel like there's a lot of good positives that you can get out of it. But it's just that gray market of stealing is where it gets, in my opinion, is where it gets scary.
It does get scary. To that point, I just listened to, I'm a podcast freak. I don't read. I listen to podcasts to get all of my information. And I just listened to a Radiolab episode, shout out Radiolab, that studied the human voice evolution and now what AI can do for folks who have, degenerative muscular diseases like ALS, which will eventually take those little muscles in your larynx and make them immobilized. And now AI, thank God, I've been recorded enough times, can capture someone's voice from past recordings and past, touch points.
Right.
and recreate it for a person, instead of one famous example is like Stephen Hawking
Right.
with the computer voice. They could have captured, before he lost speaking ability, all of those touchstones and built him the ability to speak and get
right.
back to, because your voice at the end of the day, if you're a singer or not, your voice is your identity.
Right.
And so to be able to give people that piece back, beautiful, incredible.
Yeah, your audio fingerprint.
Yeah. So that's exciting. But then there's that stealing stuff that makes me a little nervous too.
The stealing stuff.
Yeah.
Do you guys use the Timbaland project as a teaching moment?
We do. We have a million teaching moments
I'm sure,
that we can point to.
But I feel like that was a big one in the industry because it kicked back.
Yep.
The industry actually kicked back at it.
Yeah. There are court cases that are happening right now that some of our faculty are involved in that I think will change the way that we teach both songwriting, actual just like pen to paper kind of songwriting courses, and our production courses. There are spaces where we can point to artists who have gotten away with taking, samples out of stuff and not clearing, like famous artists taking from famous artists in recent years, not just, before we could track all of this in the 80s or 70s. But yeah, we use those touchstone moments to say like, hey, this is where the industry is not going to be your friend, or this is where like the artists got loud enough to make the industry change their mind.
Right. Well, especially a guy as big as Timberland.
Yes.
Like for it to get clapped back that hard.
Yes.
I feel like that's why I asked, is because I feel like that's a teaching moment. Like it doesn't matter who you are.
Yep.
If you do the wrong thing in the wrong moment, even if it's the right thing in the wrong moment, you will get clapped back.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah. And that proof of, there was Katy Perry and Sarah Bareilles went at it for who got it out first and who had the copyright, timestamp. And Robin Thicke, the Marvin Gaye drag out.
Well, and then there's that the new deal that just got struck with the AI artist.
Oh, so this is you're telling me new stuff.
Oh yeah, brand new. So as like a couple weeks ago, I think.
This was the
big deal. Is like multi-million-dollar deal.
I read about this. Yeah.
And it was a songwriter who couldn't sing.
Yep.
She created an AI voice. And put out an album.
Yep.
Blew up, and they signed the first AI artist to a major label.
That's what's hard, like the classroom is really about not just personal growth and motivation, but like, hey, you have a life in this.
Right.
And it's hard enough, like convincing people that there is a economy around creative output is an uphill climb no matter what. But now, if I'm competing not just against all those Berkeley grads and all those Belmont grads,
right,
I'm competing against
the computer.
Like Madden. Zeros and ones.
Yeah.
That like motivating factor of like, okay, your humanity has to be on point in expression on stage, in your recordings, in the connection to your fans. That motivation piece has to be extra strong too.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's what about like live music? How do you approach teaching kids how to be on tour or how to be backstage or perform in front of thousands of people? How do you prepare somebody for that?
There's that essence that you can't get until they're in front of 1,000 people. But, New Orleans has, what's the fact, more festivals than days of the year.
Right.
And Loyola is lucky enough to have wonderful partners with these giants in that space of live performance. Our students every year are able to perform at one of the main stages at Jazz Fest in the Jazz Tent. We have a wonderful partnership with Emily and the folks over at French Quarter Fest to have the Esplanade and the Shade stage, coolest stage at French Quarter Fest, where our students get slots throughout the weekend. And in addition, in those spaces, we get to put them up with other like professional artists as well. We are partners with Funk Fest and Music Con, which are tied together now. And Ferret Fest is coming up because it got booted with whatever, the tornado or this past spring. So Our students are able to, they have to learn experientially. You cannot
You
learn.
can't teach that in the classroom. Yeah.
No, and like a textbook is not going to explain
Right.
what happens when your monitors go out and you have to know you're on pitch with what you're singing. So learning by doing, putting them really into the deep end immediately. We call them pros from day one. We hold them to that standard. We have so many partnerships out in the venue space. We are going to have I think I can actually say this on this podcast. No, this is breaking news.
Breaking.
Right here and now. We are going to do a press release pretty soon about the partnership between us and the revived Gasa Gasa venue.
Okay.
It's such an amazing venue, part of that Ferret Street corridor revival. It's right down the street from our campus. It's 18 plus, so all students are, given access, and the ability that we'll have there. I'm calling it our teaching hospital. We're partnering with the folks who bought it and have rebuilt it. Shout out Micah and David. But the ability for us it's our classroom now. Like our professor, Mike Twillman, takes a group of 8 kids over on Mondays and Wednesdays, and they are learning, how do I run a venue? They're able to make a little bit of money off of that through booking national acts coming through. They're booking their friends from campus who are top tier musicians, getting to perform. That like experience by doing, that's the only way that our students really excel.
Absolutely.
And we're really so thankful to be in a city that we can do that. I had a person once in a really like remote space in California say, hey, we got this great university, and that the university is well known, but we're trying to build a commercial music program. Would you come over and do it? Because I built Loyola's. And I said, I built it with New Orleans in mind.
Right.
The campus is extended as far as, all the way out to Kenner.
Right.
In so far as we talk about a topic in the classroom, and we do build our classrooms to mimic real world scenarios. Like we do have a performance venue in our building.
Right.
6 working studios of all different shapes, sizes, and uses. But it's not real world. So you have to put the students in those real world experience moments to say like, all right, when the entire power grid goes out and you have to figure out what's going on in front of 1,000 people.
Right.
Or buy time in front of 1,000 people, or, like whoever. I watched Esperanza Spalding's input jack just rip out of the bottom of her upright bass.
Right.
Like, how do you help the artist feel comfortable? How do you make the audience not freak out? Earth, Wind, and Fire at Congo Stage a couple of years ago lost everything but the stage monitors. Or maybe it was just the right side. I was on the right side pretty far back, and we could only hear it from stage monitor feed. How do you make sure you don't lose money on that?
Right.
Through the, upset fans, or through artists that sue because it was a breach of contract. When those things happen, because they're gonna happen.
They're gonna happen.
How do you keep your cool?
Yeah.
That kind of customer service aspect of it too.
Yeah. So I did live sound for a long time, and that's really what cut my teeth in the industry, because you learn all those things. You learn the little intricate moments, and can't tell you how many DI boxes I chased down in my lifetime. And those are hectic moments, especially when you're in front of a big crowd or a live broadcast. It's that went live and there's no audio. I had that happen in one of the biggest shows that I did. My partner and I were the music directors for it, and we're doing all the recording for the show. But it was sponsored by Monster. Vasal Bedford was the guy running the show, who was a big producer. And we had Aerosmith, we had Joe Jackson and the Jackson 4, we had Rick Ross and Charles Barkley and Christina Milian were hosting it. Like, it was a huge show, right?
So light work.
Going to go live on YouTube at the same time that it was starting the show. Hit play, nothing. Live broadcast in front of millions of people.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. People got sued. It was a major sponsor issue. It was all because the engineer had a mute button on on the mixing
I was
board.
going to say, was it Phantom Power? No, it was
it
the mute button.
It was a mute button.
Wow.
Yeah.
And being able to diagnose and move quickly.
Which took 10 minutes of dead air space and people running around the stage and thousands of people in the crowd wondering what's going on, and Charles and Christina Milian trying to tell jokes to the crowd to keep everybody happy. And like, it was a nightmare.
Yeah.
But one of the things you learn is to take a breath, because everybody points fingers at you. Even though I'm not running the sound for the show, I'm just recording what's coming out, but there's nothing coming out. So it's not
Somehow
my fault.
This is your fault.
Somehow it's my fault because I'm closer to the stage than the sound guy.
Yep.
You have to learn to be calm and especially in front of the audience. You really don't want to show that there's a problem.
No.
You know, and just realize that they're going to be there for however long it takes you to fix it anyway. So just take a breath, diagnose everything, go through your checkpoints, and at some point you will find an answer.
Yep.
But I don't think without going through those moments that I would be ready for the industry.
No.
You know, and so, like you said, you can't teach that in the classroom. I'm on the board of a school in Florida. We're an entertainment school. We're mainly built around film, and we're lacking a little bit on the music side, which is why they brought me on board. And I immediately started doing live shows. It's right down the street from the Hard Rock in Lauderdale, the school. So I convinced Hard Rock to allow me to be the promoter of shows and bring the kids on board to watch how they set up the show, do the helping hands, be all the grips type of situation, and be the runners and learn firsthand what a big show setup is, and then do a breakdown.
That's awesome.
And so that gives them that real world experience, you know. Now, with a show like that, there's a lot less headaches because everything's wired properly, everything's set up. You're not bringing in outside sound guys. Everything is pretty well set. But you did have issues you still have to go through, you know. And most of them are artist issues and staging, and you know. But there's just something to be said about real world experience. Yeah,
absolutely. And just that comfort level, right? Like to keep your pulse low when there is a problem. There is always a problem. There's always an XLR that's going to dog you out, or, you know, just like the stupidest mute button will get you.
One of the best lessons that I ever learned in live sound was your XLRs are like elephants. They never forget how you treat them.
Ooh, I love that.
Right?
I love that.
If you don't wrap that cord right, you know, and somehow it gets in a knot or a twist or it kinks or gets stepped on wrong, like you gotta take care of your XLRs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's rule number one.
Rule number one.
Live and die.
Rule number one. Absolutely. What about Dolby Atmos?
Ooh, you're like spilling my secrets right now.
Well, we're in the first certified Dolby Atmos mixing room in Louisiana.
I know you are.
I just think it's got to be, you know, move forward. We got to teach these kids.
Yep. We're working on being the first educational space to do that.
Gotcha.
I think as I watched UP with a cart dragging something out of our purchasing receiving area yesterday. He's building that space right now in Studio C.
Gotcha.
For us, and teaching, you know, the nice thing is that teaches students that not only Dolby Atmos quality in music recording, but again, me and my podcast nerddom, that binaural recording experience for a lot of like audiobooks that are happening now, like high-priced podcasts. You know, those things are making our students more versatile.
Right.
It's nice now because, man, that technology exploded between when I started talking to one of Dolby's. We had an alum who went to Loyola way back in the aughts, and he's now the second head engineer for tuning rooms. And so I started picking at this. I was like, okay, I love being the first. I'm an Aries. I'm an only child, man.
Same. April 6th.
Okay, you're an Aries on the April side. Yeah. All right, I'm on the March side.
You're the March side?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, like I want to be on the front end. And figuring out how to do that with our students and make it manageable on the financial side. But talking to him it's been a year since he and I have been talking about that, and UP and I have been drawing up plans. The amount of footage it's covered to where people can tune their headphones and take it home and work is crazy to me, and that just is a testament to how fast we've got to run to keep up. But teaching them.
Well, so once car manufacturers adopted it, headphones, all your home theaters adopted it. It was because I started talking about this, I guess about 8 years ago now, but it was immersive sound.
Yeah.
And I did a whole build out with Westlake Studios in LA. We were doing it. It was a different building than this. And I was going full theater, full home, or not full box office theater.
Yeah.
Because at the time Atmos didn't exist. So it was kind of like this weird gray area. Like you almost had to go that high.
Yeah.
To even do your Amazon or your HBO uploads and streaming stuff for movies at the time. And it was crazy build up. We're talking $700,000-$800,000 build out.
Yeah.
Like, and I paused on it, thankfully. And then, Sony started adopting their own type of surround theater that was kind of immersive sound. And then Dolby finally picked it up and started calling it Atmos, and then everybody gravitated to it.
Yeah.
But I consider this process as big as when we went from cassette to CD. Everything had to be remixed and remastered to digital.
Yeah.
It's the same thing in Atmos. Everything that's ever been put out has to be remixed and remastered in Dolby if it wants to play in all these new systems. So it, to me, is so important to get the kids and the musicians to understand this is another step in your mixing process that you have to do.
Yeah.
Because as I understand right now, you can't even get playlisted on Apple if you don't upload an Atmos mix.
Yeah, they're starting to put the barriers on, right? Which is kind of a nice way to make money.
Absolutely.
Like, oh no, we got to redo this.
Yeah, right.
That piece is a little tough. That's like the Apple model of, oops, you got to reformat for the iPod. And,
Right.
Oops, you got to reformat for the iPhone.
Change the charger cable.
Yeah.
Oh God.
Yeah. But making sure, again, that's just running ahead of that freight train to make sure our students are not equipped for like 2025. We have to make sure they're equipped for the next 3-ish years,
right.
While things stay kind of stable in the technology or in the legal spaces or, the music making spaces. That it's tough. It's a sprint at all points in time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, if there's any way we can help.
Okay. You heard it live here, right? Okay.
We would love to be a part of anything educational wise that we need to help out.
We would love that.
With New Orleans and creatives and anything that can help in the space with you guys for music. It'd be great.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
We're going to take you up on that.
Please do.
For sure.
Please do.
You got to come over and hang in our spaces.
I sure will. Tell UP I said hi.
I will.
He actually got us our universal audio plugins. And
he's Mr. Focusrite at this point in time.
Oh, yeah.
His last name is Focusrite at this point.
I will agree with that. And they've made it easy now with all the the Ethernet stuff. It just makes it easy.
Yeah. We I will say we survived on RedNet product during COVID.
Right.
We were one of the only universities that was able to keep, I kept rehearsing my students because we had the Dante system up and running.
Yep.
And I just threw all my singers into ISO booths, and I was conducting the one that could see me through the only room that had the glass from the control room. And I was like, okay, kids, use your ears. And it was actually a really cool learning experience because a lot of those singers hadn't been in a space where they couldn't see somebody or they weren't in a live band.
Right.
So we turned it into a different pedagogical moment. But
the click is your friend.
Right? The click is your friend. And then when I take it away, you have to be your own click.
Now there's the jazz in you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But no, it's great to have partners like, Elation has been an influence on us too. We're working on a little Viswall situation on campus too. And to just have those spaces, again, it's not, the point of nowhere in some state that doesn't know about music. We're in
No, absolutely.
the city that built American music. So
We've got to step up.
Yep.
And that was why I came back from LA and I was dipping my toe in here, down here to get in the industry because I knew I was moving back at some point. And I was just like, man, like, y'all just moving too slow.
Yeah.
Like everything is just moving too slow. Content creation has to be a part of your operation.
Yep.
You know, and you're no longer a music artist. You're a brand, and you have to treat yourself that overall, completely.
Yep.
And it takes a culture shift.
It does.
To change things like that when the industry hasn't come down here to build things to teach.
Yeah, we talk a lot about that infrastructure piece. We're looking forward to a mayoral shift that hopefully the person that takes that office understands the cultural economy around what's happening in New Orleans, helps people, put the guardrails around their creative IP in order to make that money. But like I said, we don't have the brick and mortars of LA or New York or Nashville, where in my backyard is every major label.
Yep. We could have. Yeah. Everybody left.
Everybody left, and we didn't really work to rebuild that, which is crazy because the cultural economy is New Orleans.
Yep.
We are the culture, and again, I'll say it every day, all day. We are the city that built American music.
Yep.
And to build more spaces, especially for my students. I want them to have jobs in our city. I spent 4 years with them.
Right.
Blood, sweat, and tears, man. And then they leave me for LA or Chicago or Nashville or New York because that's where those spaces where they can actually get those jobs are. So hoping, administrations understand that and working as an institution like us to partner with businesses, but also with government agencies. It's kind of a new frontier for us. I'll brag a little bit about the Office of Nighttime Economy. They've been amazing for us.
Awesome.
They just they launched that tune-up grant and asked us, hey, will you guys be the engineers? So the tune-up grant is now allowing one of my faculty to take 6 students into venues who they send in proposals.
Got you.
And they said, like, hey, can you look at our PAs? Can you look at sound abatement? Because, people who move to Frenchman and don't know that they're living next to a music venue and complain.
Right.
But can you look at our sound abatement? Can you look at, like, the audience's experience of music and sound in this room and advise us on how to be better? Because that office believes that if the tourists experience, if the native New Orleanian experience, the person who, buys a ticket to a show is outstanding, top tier excellence in our city, that only further contributes to that cultural economy and the tourism dollars. We've put a lot of eggs in that basket.
Repeat business.
Right?
If you have a good time, you're going to come back.
Exactly.
Right? And we've always given people a good time. We've been the Big Easy for a reason. We are that party before Lent that you need to have.
Yes.
But it's true. We lost a lot of culture with Katrina. We lose a lot of culture just over the years without people paying attention to it. And I feel like at this point, since I've been back, which is, like I said, about 8 years ago, I moved back. I feel like there's more people talking about those points right now.
Saying it out loud. Yeah.
Saying it out loud, and that are in positions to help.
Yep.
So I feel good about where we're moving.
Yeah, we're a proud space to have graduated Reed Martin, mid-citizen, leading the charge in those spaces. Again, brick and mortar, even though we live in this digital world, especially in the music industry,
right?
Brick and mortar spaces that are, artist representation or any type of in support of creative endeavors, they're still very important to the health of a city's cultural economy, and we need that support and that brain drain. Man, we're losing good people. It's hard enough living with all these potholes. To not have music economy is worse.
Down here, if you build it, they will come, but it will sink. You know,
it's important to remember
it's
that
important
last
to remember
piece.
we are
Yeah.
marshland, so
Yeah.
it will sink.
Yeah.
But well, awesome. Well, great. It was a great conversation with you
Yeah,
today.
it's so nice to talk.
And like I said, any way we can do to help and move things forward, let us know.
I love it. We're sending interns your way.
Sounds good to me. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. And if you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to share some socials for Loyola or the music programs, that would be great.
Yeah. So check out our Instagram. It's SMTP_Loino. That's where we're bragging about what our students are up to. It'll link out to the YouTube channels for live streams of our concerts, spaces where we're going to live stream the mayoral forum on music industry next week, things that are cool and upcoming. And check us out.
Awesome. Well, great. Well, like I said, thank you guys for joining us today, and I'll see you in the next podcast.